Hello everybody, my name is Mark Camp and I am the General Manager at Rowe Ford Lincoln Hyundai in Westbrook, Maine. I'm the third generation of my family with Rowe and have had the privilege of working with a lot of good team members as well as great customers over the years. Thankfully, I've had pretty good examples of integrity and honesty with both my father, Wallace Camp Jr., and my grandfather before him, Wallace Camp Sr. These are things that I hope to continue and expand on in the years to come. We have had our ups and downs for sure, but ultimately we've managed to be here since 1955. I believe this is because the right intentions were always here, and that is to take care of our customers. When things have gone astray in a given area, we have always tried to fix these issues and become better. It is as true today as it was then. My grandfather moved to Maine in 1955 after graduating from college on the GI Bill. Like many of his generation, he had served in World War II, and in his case, he was with the Marines, facing kamikazes and landing on the beaches of Okinawa. During college, he worked selling cars for the Weiss brothers in Baltimore, Maryland. He also met my very loving grandmother, Virginia, during this time. They actually met doing a play called Boy Meets Girl. He was the boy, she was the girl. They raised 4 children together and had many adventures over the years. My grandmother unfortunately passed away from cancer a few years ago, and my grandfather is still alive at the age of 95 years old. He goes over the finances of his retirement home even today and always has questions for me every time I come to visit. I definitely appreciate it because he's got worlds of knowledge behind him. In 1955, the Weiss brothers of Baltimore, Maryland opened a Ford dealership on Forest Ave in Portland and had my grandfather move out to run it. The name of this dealership was Portland Motor Sales. The first building, which was a converted casket factory, eventually became too small and they moved to another building on Forest Ave in 1960. By the early 1960s, even this spot became too small, so land was purchased for a brand new building. The grand opening of this new building on Marginal Way was in 1963. Some of you may know it as the current U-Haul building with the zigzag roof on the street. In 1970, Portland Motor Sales purchased Rowe Motors and Rowe Ford Sales was born. The Ford business was moved to 91 Main Street, Westbrook, Maine, where we are today. Over time, my grandfather had bought out the business from the Weiss brothers and in turn sold it to my father. My grandfather also purchased Auburn Motor Sales in 1986 and later sold that to my father as well. I believe Auburn Motor Sales used to be known as Fordland, for any of you that might remember that. Hyundai was added as a franchise in 1993 and has been a great addition with its constant improvements as a brand and loyal customer base. Lincoln was shifted from Auburn to Westbrook earlier in the past decade and has been making great strides to work towards becoming one of the top American luxury brands once again. My father, Wallace Camp Jr., grew up in Portland and attended Portland High. He even played baseball for Coach Hadlock, which is what the Sea Dog Stadium is now named after. Like myself, he started working at the dealership doing odds and ends, as well as cleaning vehicles. Over time, he began to sell vehicles and eventually, worked in the different departments of the dealership. It was important because it helped to give him a better understanding of the challenges that come up with those different areas, as well as opportunities. My father has been a good example over the years, and he officially took over Rowe in Westbrook from my grandfather in 2004. I personally had my first official job here picking weeds around the dealership. Over time, I've worked in most areas, from cleaning vehicles, working as a service advisor, to selling vehicles. I lived out of state for quite some time, where I met my wife, with whom I have 2 silly little children, and we moved back to Maine in 2009, where I began to work here full-time at Rowe in Westbrook. Over the years, I've learned a lot, and I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I've had here. Hopefully we can be of help to you sometime for sales or service, but even if that is not the case, we wish you a good year and success with all of your vehicle needs. For now, though, we'll keep marking them down and moving them out. All right, have a great day. Thanks. A converted casket factory eventually became... Okay. As a service advisor to selling vehicles. Okay.
I'm so sorry. I didn't bust.
That's going in the official video, Jim, along with your picture. And he's going to have an arrow that says interruption, interruption, interruption.